Hey internet, it's Phil. It has been 20 years since Pokemon first came out in Japan. That is absolutely crazy. I have been playing Pokemon for 2/3 of my life, and some of you probably weren't even born when the games came out. So in the spirit of celebration, I thought I would recount my first experience with Pokemon. We travel back now to the exotic and faraway 90s. I was in 5th grade, and once a month we had to bring in a news article to show the class. When I was looking through the newspaper the night before, I saw something that immediately caught my eye. It was a big full-page article with Ash, Brock, Misty, and Pikachu on top. Even at this tender age, I was a weeb, so the article immediately had me. And it was talking about this weird new trend in Japan for something called Pocket Monsters. So this was the first time I'd ever heard of Pokemon, and I assumed because it was called Pocket Monsters that Ash was putting Brock, Misty, and Pikachu in his pocket. For some reason, to what end, I don't know, that's just what I assumed it was. So the article was talking about how it had just taken over Japan, and about the Electric Soldier Porygon incident. For those of you who may not know, one of the early episodes of the anime had Porygon in it, and near the end there was a sequence where there was an explosion where red and blue were flashing really rapidly on screen, and this made a lot of people feel sick or even have seizures. It was a really big deal at the time, and so it made international news. So I bring the article into class, and wouldn't you know it, my best friend Eric found the same one. So being the good little nerds we were both incredibly excited for this new thing, although it was going to be over a year before it actually came out. So finally the day comes, Pokemon is coming out, and our moms agreed to take us to get the games. They also wanted to take us to an art exhibit, which normally we would have been totally cool with, but a little parenting tip for those of you who have or are going to have kids: don't buy your kids something cool before you take them to something cultural because they're not going to care. So Eric and I spend the whole exhibit just talking about Pokemon and what we think it could be. I mean, you have to remember that this is before the internet became really popular. This is before we had previews of every part of a game. We had no idea what we were getting into. And especially for a kid, that sense of not having any idea what you're going to find is really cool. So after the exhibit, we went to this nice restaurant. It had a patio outside, so we were sitting outside to eat. And under normal circumstances, neither Eric nor I would ever get to play a Game Boy at the table. That just wasn't how things were done then. But our moms knew how much we wanted to play, and so they relented and let us start the game. It's hard to describe, but I think a lot of you are going to know this feeling. When you start something and it just feels different, it feels special. I remember so clearly starting up this game and just feeling like something was happening, something really important. Enough to where, even though I've played probably hundreds of games since then, I still remember that one more clearly than most of them. And I have to say that from a design standpoint, the beginning of Pokemon is perfect. Dr. Oak talks directly to you, the player, and it makes you feel like you're a part of this world. So we start the game. We are both just amazed every time we see anything, even if it's a tree or a house. We freak out, we talk to each other, we show each other the screens. It is such a fun time discovering this world together. So Eric chooses Bulbasaur, I choose Squirtle. He catches a Weedle, I catch a Caterpie, and we're like, okay, we got a battle. Let's have it out. Let's see who is the ultimate Pokemon master after like 10 minutes of playing this game. I lost. I lost. That was kind of going to be a running theme and how my Pokemon battles against other people went. But I really didn't mind because it was so fun. We were enthralled by this game. We went back to Eric's house and we kept playing for hours. Until of course the Pokemon anime came on TV because marketing works. And here's the crazy thing, I remember this day so clearly, I know which episode of Pokemon it was. It was the episode where Jessie and James first get introduced. So we're watching the anime, every time there's a commercial we're playing the game furiously. I walk into Viridian Forest and I find a Pikachu. Now, I like Pikachu, I think he's super adorable, I think he's wonderful. He's not really one of my favorites, but I freaked out. I lost my mind. I mean, he was the Pokemon. He was the only one that everyone knew, and so finding him just felt really special. Even though if you've played Red and Blue, you know that Pikachu's not special at all. He's just another Pokemon. And it wasn't until the anime that he really became a big deal. So from that day forward, Pokemon was just the thing. It was the thing all my friends talked about all the time. We weren't allowed to play our Game Boys at recess, so we would make up different kinds of Pokemon-themed games to play instead. Pokemon has always had kind of a kiddie reputation, but at least when it first came out here, high school kids were the ones playing it the most. I think there were a lot of reasons. I mean, Pokemon is just fun no matter what age you are, but also I think that at the time it wasn't really common for little kids to have Game Boys. They were really expensive, and so I don't think parents were buying them for young kids. It actually wasn't until the card game came out that I noticed a lot of younger kids getting into Pokemon. I remember for some reason at lunch one time, the kid came up to me. I had no idea who this kid was. He was like 3 grades below me, and he was showing me his Japanese Eevee card that his dad had gotten for him on business. And of course, being a 6th grader, I was like, oh, kids are into Pokemon now? But Pokemon had this universal appeal. It was getting to everyone. I actually remember at one point, girls from my class started coming up to me in secret and asking me tips for Pokemon because they had gotten it as gifts. And you know, we were still young, so it was considered a boys' game, and so they were kind of afraid to say in public that they were liking Pokemon. But they would come up to me on the bus or between classes and be like, hey Phil, I went into this cave and it's really dark, I don't know what to do. And I'd be like, oh, go get Flash, it'll help you. And then one girl came up to me and she's like, Phil, I got Pokemon, don't tell anyone. But I want a Jigglypuff. Where do I find Jigglypuff? And for me, that kind of opened my eyes to the universal appeal of video games. It actually helped me stop thinking in terms of boy things and girl things and just fun things. And Pokemon has been a fixture of my life ever since. When we got our first computer that could go on the internet, the very first website I went to was Pokemon.com. I went to Pokemon chat rooms, I did Pokemon role-playing, everything in my life revolved around Pokemon. And Dragon Ball, but mostly Pokemon. I don't have that many things from when I was younger, but I do have some of my original Pokemon stuff. These were metal cards given out for the first Pokemon movie. They are really heavy, they're really cool. I don't know how these survived so long, I don't know why I still have them, but I do. And then these are my 2 surviving Pokemon cards. This one I got on a trip with my parents. We passed an import store and they had a Japanese Erica deck, and I had a total 6th grader crush on Erica, so I bought it and I thought it was amazing. And this guy I got from a girl in my class. She got it from her dad who was on business in Japan, because apparently everyone's dads were going to Japan on business and bringing them back Pokemon cards. But anyway, it was well known that my favorite Pokemon was Butterfree. So she showed me the card, I freaked out, and I was like, what do you want for this? Now she informed me she was going to drive a hard bargain. But as it happened, I was kind of ready to get rid of my Pokemon cards. I was really bad at the game. Like, really bad. Like, I don't think I ever won a match. And I'm not really a completionist kind of guy. I want to collect the things that I like. I don't really care about the things that I don't. Eric, though, actually got the entire first set that was released. I remember he brought the binder to school one day, and he opened it up, and there was a holy light exuding from it, and everyone was freaking out. They were like, oh my god, you have every card, you have every card. You have every Pokemon card. We were not hard people to impress, but that was still really cool. So I was kind of ready to give it up to begin with, and my bus is leaving, and she's like, listen, this deal is happening right now. Either you make a trade for the card, or the card goes back home with me forever. And I'm like, you know what? I really want this Japanese Butterfree card. I really love the art. This is something that I think I'll keep for a long time. So I just reached into my bag, grabbed all my cards, and was like, here, just take them. Just take them. Give me Butterfree. And she did. Yeah, it was a silly trade, but I mean, 18 years later, I still have this card and I still love it. So it was worth it to me. You know, I really cannot give enough thanks to the people behind Pokemon for creating something so enduring and so fun. Pokemon has been with me for most of my life, and I can't see myself ever really falling out of it. With every generation, we get something new and exciting. I mean, I got chills the other day when they announced Pokemon Sun and Moon, even though it had been leaked already. Something about this series has always just grabbed me, and I can't wait to see what the next 20 years will bring. But anyway, that's my Pokemon story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your story. If you want to leave it in the comments below, I'd love to see when you started the game, what you remember. It'd be really cool. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be really cool of you to hit the like button, and if you want to see more, you can hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.